Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, members, those online. Could I please ask participants to keep their cameras and microphones off when you're online, unless you wish to speak, and ideally not to use your camera facility, as this can affect the quality of the IT connection. Please be advised that the meeting is being recorded, and data collected during the recording of the meeting will be retained in accordance with the Council's data retention policy, and the recording of the meeting may be added to the Council's website. Members accessing the meeting using their SBC or KCC laptops to participate virtually. If you join using the link on the website or on a mobile or tablet device, it may not always be possible to identify you, and you may not be recorded as in remote attendance. So welcome everyone to this Joint Transportation Board meeting. I think we've got one or two members of the public on that I saw earlier, maybe not now, but welcome anyway. So moving on then, we've got the officers in attendance. We've got the Seafront and Engineering Manager Mike Knowles in person, Swale Highways Manager KCC Daniel Cannon-Skeet remotely, Senior Assistant Project Manager KCC Sophie Taylor in remote attendance, Senior Major Capitals Programme Manager Barry Stiff remotely, and Democratic Services Officer Kelly McKenzie in person. There are no other officers in attendance. So I'll start off by asking for any apologies, please.
Thank you, Chair. Apologies received from Councillor Alistair Gould, KCC Councillor Mr Rich Lehman, and KCC Councillor Mrs Chris Palmer. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Right, so members, is it your wish that I approve the minutes of the last meeting held on the 30th of June, minutes 113 to 123 as a correct record? Thank you, members. I shall sign those in a moment. Right, are there any declarations of pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest, members? No? Okay, thank you very much. So we now move on to item 5, public speaking. We have no public speakers scheduled to speak this evening. So we move on to the agenda part 1, reports of recommendation to Swale Borough Council's Policy and Resources Committee. So the first item there is item 6, formal objections to Traffic Regulation Order Swale Amendment 1616 of 2025. And I'll ask Mr Knowles to present the report.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, this traffic regulation order was mainly to cover disabled persons parking bays. That's formalising existing bays and removal of redundant bays. During the formal consultation period, as the report states, we received 3 formal objections to the traffic order, all in relation to formalising existing disabled bays, one of which was in Cambridge Road, Faversham, one in Alexandra Road, Sheerness, and one in Ospringe Road in Faversham. All 3 of these locations, as with the other bays in the traffic regulation order, meet the KCC criteria. I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions, members? Councillor MacDonald.
Yeah, sorry, it's not really a question, but I would like to say that I support it 100%, because if somebody's disabled, they do have a trouble, and people are objecting because they say, oh, well, I can't park there. Tough. Okay, it meets the regulations, so I think it should be approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor MacDonald. Councillor Saunders.
Yeah, I'd like to speak in favour of the 2 Faversham proposals. I mean, I think both of them are actually kind of there at the moment, and I think the I think Mr Knowles has explained the reasons why the objections to them aren't particularly valid. So I'd be happy to propose both of those, and and the Sheerness one if that's appropriate.
Thank you, Councillor Saunders. Mr Harrison.
No, just echoing what Councillor MacDonald said. I fully support all the matters that relate to the Isle of Sheppey. Having spoken with officers, they think it's the right decision. I agree it will benefit residents in the long term. So happy to support that as well.
Thank you very much. So then we move on to the recommendation 1. The disabled persons parking bays in Cambridge Road, Faversham, Alexandra Road, Sheerness and Ospringe Road, Faversham are formalised as proposed in the traffic regulation order. Do I have a proposer, please? Thank you, Councillor Saunders. Seconder, Councillor Palmer. Thank you. So all those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you, members. So we now move on to agenda item number 7. Formal objection to Traffic Regulation Order Swale Amendment 1717 to 2025, Belmont Road, Faversham. Mr Knowles, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, another traffic regulation order. This one with regard to the proposed extension of the Faversham Residence Parking Scheme to include Belmont Road in Faversham. This came to the JTB back in March 2025, where a petition and the subsequent informal consultation was undertaken with residents. And this is the formal traffic regulation order as per the recommendation from the board. We received 3 formal objections to the traffic regulation order. One was around the proposed extension to the double yellow lines at the junction with Forbes Road, suggesting that there was no need to extend the lines. That is open. We can leave the lines as they are if that's the desired option of the board. And also an objection to the proposed double yellow lines across the vehicle entrance to Belmont Court. There's currently a white bar marking in place there, and we would need to put double yellow lines across that entrance to ensure that any vehicles that were parking in the area without a valid permit could receive a fixed penalty notice. So we wouldn't extend those double yellow lines any further than the existing white bar marking, so we don't feel that there would be any loss of parking on street parking capacity there. Other comments suggested that the scheme should be extended only if Kingsnorth Road was included in the proposals, and indeed we did receive a petition from residents of Kingsnorth Road asking that their road be included, and I've covered that in another report to the board this evening. As with the previous report, I'm happy to answer any questions there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Mr Palmer, please.
This highlights one of the problems with parking schemes, is that as soon as you put one in one area, the neighbouring areas want it because it displaces vehicles into that area. I mean, if it was approved by a previous board, then I think we should just there should be 2 recommendations there. It should be split to progress it, and if it recommendation 2 really should be perhaps if it is progressed to either delay or just to push on with it. That's, my view is I don't think we should delay it any further because of other residents who want it. Because how far do you go? If Kings Northing gets it, the next roads might be joining in. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Whiting, please.
Thank you, Chair. That was going to be kind of the crux of my question to Mr Knowles, was what is the benefit in delaying this for Kingsnorth, or what is the downside for delaying it into Kingsnorth? Because is there a downside just progressing as Councillor Palmer suggests? Thanks.
Thank you, Chair. Just to come back on that point, really, and it is a valid point. We many years ago we did a consultation to look at the 4 roads in the area to include those in a residence parking scheme, following a request from residents. I'm testing my memory now, but I believe that was Edith Road, Kingsnorth Road, Belmont Road, and I've forgotten the 4th one. But we went through the process. I believe it came back to the JTB on numerous occasions because there was a difference of opinion between residents as to whether they supported that implementation of the extension of the scheme. And following a convoluted process, it was eventually agreed that we would not continue to install the scheme in any of those roads. So off the back of that, the policy has been that we would receive a petition from each road which would demonstrate support, and then we would take that forward. So indeed, Edith Road was included in the residents' parking scheme, and then, as I say, later on we've had the recommendation to include Belmont Road. I believe Kings North Road is the last road in that immediate vicinity where we had previously looked at the scheme. So the proposal to extend the scheme into Belmont Road, but to delay that slightly just to allow this formal consultation with Kings North Road, we believe that would cover that particular area. If we do get requests from subsequent roads, I think the recommendation from my side would be that we just progress with this traffic order, and then we would look at subsequent areas off the back of that. But I think it was because we had previously looked at Belmont Road and Kings North Road that the view is that we would hold fire until we'd undertaken this formal consultation with Kings North. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor
If I can come back very quickly, I'm grateful for that, but I still think we should just progress. That would be my view, and I would be more than happy to propose that we progress with Belmont, and if at a later stage Kings North is considered, then there could be a separate TRO and we can move forward there. So I'm more than happy to propose against the recommendation 1 that we proceed now with Belmont as suggested.
So we're now speaking to the amendment proposed by Councillor Whiting. Julian, thank you.
I don't support your view, Councillor Whiting. I mean, I think the group of roads there are kind of quite intimately linked together, and they're all suffering from problems of commuters, particularly, and users of the town centre parking there. And I think the problem is if the Belmont Road scheme goes ahead before the Kings North Road one, there'll be quite a bit of displacement of parking into Kings North Road. And my reading of the initial responses from Kings North Road residents was that there was quite strong support for extending the parking scheme to them. So to my mind, getting on with the Kings North consultation would be sensible, and introducing the two schemes at the same time would be quite a sensible approach.
Thank you, Councillor Saunders. Mr Palmer, please.
I think the officer put it quite well, and Councillor Saunders in some respect. It's nice to have the local knowledge, and even so I have reservations, I'm quite happy, as Councillor Saunders is from Faversham and knows the area very well. I think he's given some good input into it, and I'm quite happy to support his view on that. Thank you. It's it a bit when I've seconded it, but that's the benefit of having a debate, that people can be, their minds can be changed if they listen to an argument. Thank you.
Well, so we have a formal proposal on the table. If you'd like to just repeat that so that...
to be honest, Mr Mayor, part of the proposal was just to get the debate going so we had something concrete to talk about other than simply the recommendation from the officers. And Councillor Saunders has a view. I'd still believe, sort of summing up as a proposal, I guess, I still believe that actually moving forward now, rather than building in another 12-month, 18-month delay to get anything in to help the residents in Belmont Avenue, is a better way forward. But I'm going to be outvoted, so I'll just withdraw the motion and recommend perhaps we go with the paper, the recommendation on the paper.
Thank you, Councillor Whiting. Okay, so...
That's the seconder.
Seconder happy for the proposal to be...
I think that's a very wise move. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to make comment or ask question? No, so we go then to the recommendation that the proposed extension of the Faversham Residence Parking Scheme to progress as per the advertised traffic order, but it's delayed to allow formal consultation in the adjoining Kings North Road for possible implementation of the scheme in both roads at the same time. Do I have a proposer, please? Councillor Saunders, thank you. A seconder? Thank you, Mr Palmer. So, all those in favour of recommendation? That's unanimous. Thank you, members. So we now move on then to agenda item 8, petition and informal consultation results requested for residence parking scheme in Kings North Road, Faversham.
Thank you, Chair. Intrinsically linked to the previous report. Yes, fairly self-explanatory really, this report. What we did following the petition that came in from residents of Kings North Road is I approached the Chair, who kindly agreed that rather than present the petition to the JTB and then take part in an informal consultation, that with the Chair's consent we went straight to an informal consultation with residents. The idea was to cut the process down by at least one JTB cycle so that we could push things forward. We've undertaken that informal consultation and the results are in that report. Basically, it's of the 66 properties consulted, we received, the report says 32. There was an additional report that submission that came in after the report was submitted, so it's 33 responses, and there were 29 supporting and 3 objecting. I believe I've got that right, and I think I've actually got that wrong, sorry. It was 31, originally 31 reported, 32 at the end. So 32 responses received, 29 supporting and 3 objecting. So the recommendation is to progress with the traffic regulation order. Prior to doing that, as we always do, we would consult residents on the proposed layout of the scheme. It's a very tight deadline, but the idea is that we would get that consultation out and back in time for the December JTB to consider, rather than delaying that a further 3 months in light of the fact that we are holding fire on the Belmont Road proposals. It's all in the report, but as I say, happy to clarify any points on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions, comments, members? Right, so we've got a recommendation that members are asked to note the petition and the results of the recent informal consultation with residents, and recommend that a traffic regulation order be drafted to include Kings North Road in the Faversham Residence Parking Scheme. Do I have a proposer, please? Thank you, Councillor Saunders. And seconder, Councillor Watson. Thank you. So all those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you. God, we are rattling through these this evening. Don't worry, those online, I haven't forgotten about you, and I do keep looking in case your hands go up. Right, so we move on then to agenda item number 9, formal objection to traffic regulation order Swale Amendment 1919-2025. Mr Knowles again.
Apologies, you'll be sick of hearing my voice by the end of this meeting. Yes, as the report says, this is a traffic regulation order which was drafted for proposed double yellow lines in Marine Parade, in Sheerness and Minster. So that's from the Ship on Shore car park heading towards the junction with the Broadway in Minster, and also in Sheerness Road, Laysdown, from the existing double yellow lines, which is near the coastal park, down to Muswell Manor, and also amending the current seasonal double yellow lines in Sheerness Road to normal, as we call them, double yellow lines, which would apply 365 days a year. The thought process behind these double yellow lines was following the parking charge implementation at Shinglebank and also along Sheerness Road, and to deal with any displacement issues with vehicles. We received one formal objection, and that was with regard to the proposed double yellow lines in Marine Parade, and the objection was along the lines that it was felt that these restrictions would displace parked vehicles to the properties outside of the properties between the Ship on Shore and the Seager Road, where there's already limited parking capacity for residents. We received 2 indications of support, both for the proposals in Marine Parade, and we received a formal response from Kent County Council's Road Safety Engineering Project Manager, which was not a formal objection, but was concerns around the suitability of double yellow lines along Marine Parade, as KCC had previously installed some traffic calming measures in the form of road lines and signs to reduce speeds along there, and it was felt that double yellow lines may not be the most suitable option. So based on those conversations with colleagues at Kent County Council and the consensus that the road layout in that section of Marine Parade would not encourage parking, the proposals in the traffic order are that the proposed double yellow lines in Shelness Road be progressed as per the advertised traffic order, together with the proposed amendments to the seasonal double yellow lines in Shelness Road, but the proposed double yellow lines in Marine Parade be removed from the traffic regulation order following the comments received from the County Council, and that the parking situation be monitored. Thank you.
I've got Councillor Worcester online.
Good evening, Chair. I do apologise for not writing in and asking whether I could attend and speak at the meeting this evening on this agenda item. I do apologise, and thank you for letting me speak. I am this evening speaking as the Chair of the Town Council, and I would like to speak in favour of the traffic regulation order and thank Swale for the work it's done in the area. At the moment, the Town Council is refreshing its highway improvement plan, and we are absolutely more than happy to work with any agency or anyone else that would like to support more measures for Marine Parade area, because it is a problem. However, we very much appreciate the work that's been done on the shingle bank, and we feel it's in residents' best interests that the work in that area is followed through this evening, and also highlighted for further work if possible. And hopefully what we'll be doing is contacting the JTB as a town council to ask how we can support that work in that area, because we have had at least 3 fatalities in the area where this work is going to be done, and something must be done to support residents using Marine Parade, Shingle Bank, Barton's Point in the method it should be used, which is on foot, supporting no more cars, but it has to be safe, and I think this work goes to help that. So thank you very much for letting me speak, Chair.
Not a problem, Councillor Worcester, you're most welcome. Members, Councillor MacDonald and then Councillor Whiting.
Yes, I actually agree with some work on this particular section. It's pretty awful, and as Councillor Worcester's just commented, there have been 3 fatalities. So, and there was going to be a speed reduction on part of the road, and apparently that's been dropped. So I think it's absolutely essential that comes in, quite frankly. This is the bit by Barton's Point. But you know, I was quite in favour of this, although of course when you do take away parked vehicles you do get generally an increase in speed, but I don't think that's really an excuse. I think 1 or 2 parking at the moment is quite unacceptable, so I think we should go ahead with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor MacDonald. Councillor Whiting. Can you put your microphone on, please, Councillor?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. I support the 3 recommendations as they're set out. It's quite clear that since the parking charges were introduced at the Ship on Shore car park, that people now park on the road, which does cause angst to other road users. I understand that, but those parked cars do actually, they act as a speed reduction measure, if you like. They're not a built chicane, but they're almost a chicane that you've got to get around. You've got to slow down, and that's and I think that's a good thing. I think displaced parking at the Shingle Bank is most unlikely because it's free during the day. So there may be, if there's displaced parking, it will only be at night when the charges are actually in force. Though I did go up there the other day and I noticed, I know Mr Knowles can comment separately, but there are large concrete bollards stopping you anything wider than 6'6", which would be a camper van or whatever, going on there to park up overnight. Actually can't access most of the Shingle Bank because they can't get through the concrete bollards, but that's a separate issue. Perhaps Mr Knowles should comment on that. But I do think that it's that I'd support them. In answer to what Councillor MacDonald just said regarding the 30 mile an hour, I'm sure Mr Harrison will explain shortly the results of a meeting that he and I had with the Cabinet Member for Transport at KCC recently, which may be good news to the ears of Councillor MacDonald and others.
Thank you, Councillor Whiting. Mr Harrison.
No, thank you, Chair. And I'm joining my island colleagues tonight in supporting the recommendations as laid out. Myself and Councillor Whiting recently had a meeting with the Cabinet Member for Highways and Transport, Councillor Peter Osborne, and KCC has reversed its decision on not implementing speed limits, so it will be brought down to 30 miles per hour, which I'm sure Councillor MacDonald will agree is going to improve safety for residents, of families and children, particularly on that very busy road at times. So no, I'm more than content and happy with the recommendations put forward, and I will be supporting them.
Thank you. Mr Knowles, you wish to come back?
Really, just regarding the concrete blocks, I won't comment too much because that's more our colleagues in off-street parking. But I would say that when the blocks were originally installed to limit the size of the motorhomes that were using Shingle Bank, they were very swiftly moved to be widened by those people wishing to gain access. So the large camper vans have, and indeed I think will continue to use that, the Marine Parade, although I'm not sure I would fancy trying to get one through there if I'm perfectly honest. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's just a quick follow-up because I hear what the officer says, but the part of the thing was that we would get some income, or Swale would get some income from parking up there, and if we're preventing people parking because the bollards, the blocks are too narrow, and people can't park up there, then we're not getting the income that we need to pay for the management and the enforcement on that particular bit of the site. Thank you.
Well, from what Mr Knowles said, I think we all know that when the blocks were put in, if someone couldn't get there, they'd move them rather swiftly so they could get on there. But it might be worthwhile checking with the parking people to make sure that they either widen the blocks and change the thing so that bigger RVs can get up there, or put it back to the 6'6". But as Councillor Whiting quite rightly said, this was done so that not only to allow more people to park up on the Shingle Bank and not feel that they were intimidated, but also to bring in some income for the council. So if I could ask you to consult with the parking colleagues.
I'll certainly ask my colleagues to review that. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got no more members online, no more members in the room. So the recommendation, members are asked to note the formal, I'll take these one at a time, the formal objection and comments received during the consultation period for the traffic regulation order, and recommendation that item 1, the proposed double yellow lines in Shellness Road Laysdown be progressed as detailed in the advertised traffic regulation order. Do I have a proposer? Thank you, Mr Harrison. Seconder? Councillor MacDonald, thank you. All those in favour of recommendation 1? That's unanimous. So recommendation 2, proposed amendment to the seasonal double yellow lines in Shellness Road Laysdown to be progressed as detailed in the advertised traffic regulation order. Do I have a proposer, please? Thank you, Mr Harrison. Seconder? Councillor MacDonald. Thank you. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you. And number 3, the proposed double yellow lines in Marine Parade Sheerness to be removed from the traffic regulation order following comments received from Kent County Council and the parking situation be monitored. Do I have a proposer? Thank you, Mr Harrison. Seconder? Thank you, Councillor Whiting. All those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Any against? Any abstentions? 1 abstention. Okay, thank you very much. So then we move on to agenda item number 10. Formal objection to traffic regulation order Swale Amendment 21, 2025. Proposed reinstatement of double yellow lines in Faversham Town Centre. And again, it's Mr Knowles.
Thank you, Chair. You'll all be pleased to hear my final report. This traffic regulation order was off the back of the JTB recommendation in March of this year, which was to reinstate the double yellow lines in Faversham Town Centre. The plan detailing the proposals is in the report. During the formal consultation, we received 1 formal objection. That objection was mainly around concerns that businesses would be unable to load and unload stock, and that customers would not be able to park near the shops for collections, which they felt would discourage visitors to the town centre. We received 5 general comments, which are detailed in paragraph 3.3, and we received 2 indications of support to the proposals, but 1 suggesting that the proposed restrictions should only be in place between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Happy to take any questions on the report. Thank you.
Left open. It's my view that the double yellow line should be progressed. I think, as Mr Knowles said, the context of this is that the JTB asked this to be moved forward. There is a very real problem of parking throughout the day and the evening around the Guildhall and in the marketplace, which is not good for business and isn't helpful for pedestrians. And this is all in the context of the pedestrianisation scheme not being able to go ahead, which the JTB had agreed 2 or 3 years ago. So I think this should move forward. The one objection, considering that there are a whole number of businesses which are impacted by this, I think is kind of an insignificant number. And I think some of the points made in the objection don't really stack up in reality. If you look at Friday and Saturday when there's no vehicular access in the town centre, those are the days when the town is most vibrant and economically active. So I think it should move forward. The comments, particularly the ones about Court Street, are actually saying really we'd like a bit more and those double yellow lines to be extended, and the only reason I think they're not being is because of the costs to Swale in doing that. So I think overall the response is quite positive to this moving forward, and certainly the town council has consistently supported this moving forward. I think ultimately there probably still needs to be more done to sort out parking in the town centre, but I think this will be a good step forward.
Thank you, Councillor Saunders. Councillor Watson.
Thank you, Chairman. I remember speaking on this the last time it came up to us, and I agree with everything that Councillor Saunders has said concerning Faversham. The one objection we have is from a business, which I think is covered in 3.2, which is that the civil enforcement officers will permit stopping on double yellows to allow loading and unloading of vehicles. One of the main problems and one of the reasons why we are looking at these double yellows is because of the problems that the market traders have of cars being parked where the stall should be, and them losing business because they cannot get in there. So hopefully that this would stop. So I think it would be very sensible for the double yellow lines to be progressed. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Watson. Yeah, I do remember discussing this at the chairman's briefing, and you bringing up agenda item paragraph 3.2, sorry, about the civil enforcement officers. We did discuss that and the time limits, etc., for vehicles to be able to load or unload. So that is particularly covered, and Mr. Knowles briefed us on that at the chairman's briefing, if you recall, Mr. Palmer. So I bow to the knowledge of the local member, and I feel that this should be progressed. So I will read the recommendation that members are asked to note the objection and comments received during the formal consultation period for the traffic regulation order, and recommend that the double yellow lines are either progressed as detailed in the advertised traffic regulation orders, are abandoned. So I will take a proposer, please. Councillor MacDonald.
Yeah, if I may make a very quick comment as well, that you do get 10 minutes loading and unloading. Yeah. I know that's probably not enough, but maybe there may be the opportunity at a later date to do a loading or unloading bay, but only for loading and unloading of vehicles. But yeah, that could be later. But at the moment, you know, obviously if there's parked cars there, people haven't got a batch chance in loading and unloading. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Whiting.
I'll propose, if I may, then that we progress with the double yellow lines as advertised in the TRO.
Do I have a seconder for that? I'll take Councillor Watson on this occasion.
I'm going to make a comment.
Yes.
The 10-minute rule is an unwritten rule. If normally they won't issue a ticket to a car unless they've observed it for 10 minutes. Loading and unloading rules is a van, light van, has 20 minutes, and over 7.5 has 40 minutes, providing there is no reasonable space where they could park and unload. Unloading is not stopping outside the curry house and picking your curry up. All right? Unloading means goods. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer. So, yeah, we have the proposal then that the double yellow lines are progressed. Has been proposed, and I believe it was Councillor Watson seconded. So, all those in favour of the yellow lines being progressed? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. We now move on to agenda item 11, the Highways Works programme. Would that be you, Daniel, presenting this one?
Yeah, that's me, Chair.
Thank you.
So obviously the Highway Works programme is for information only. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to drop us an email with regards to that. So yeah, I look forward to obviously receiving any comments from anybody.
Thank you very much. I have a brief comment from Councillor Whiting.
Thank you, Chair. I'm obliged. It's just a quick comment about the speed reduction that Mr. Harrison referred to earlier in Marine Parade, which I think needs to go on the schedule as part of the safety, the road safety. Under, I think it's Appendix D, Daniel, on page 72 of the report. If we could include that 30-mile-an-hour speed reduction scheme in that, I think that's the appropriate place to put it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Whiting.
No worries, Mr. Whiting. I will. Obviously, I'm going to take that forward anyway. I've heard all the comments with regards to Marine Parade, etc. So I will definitely come back to you on that.
Okay, lovely, thank you. Any other members with a comment or brief question? No. So members note the Highways Works Programme report. Thank you very much. We then move on to agenda item 12, progress update. I'm uncertain as to who is presenting this one, but if you just make yourself known. Is it you, Sophie?
Yes, me, yeah, I can do that.
Thank you.
Good evening. Just give you a quick update on the Grovehurst Road scheme and the Key Street scheme being delivered under the Swale HIF umbrella. So I'll start with Grovehurst Road. We're working closely with Jackson's to ensure that there's a clear and robust programme to completion. We've had a series of meetings with Jackson's to coordinate and plan the remaining works as efficiently as possible to make sure that we're minimising the remaining traffic management impacts. As always, all our traffic management is coordinated with Streetworks and also with DBFO and the National Highways where we are impacting their network. There'll be a need for some further road closures and these will be communicated over the coming weeks, ensuring that we're providing sufficient notice to our stakeholders. We will aim for the works on the more traffic sensitive roads to be programmed for less busy periods such as weekends and overnight. As you can imagine, with the larger highway schemes, there will inevitably be some disruption, but we do believe that residents are entitled to expect that this is limited as far as reasonably possible. So we're looking at completion this year. There will be a series of some minor finishing works alongside some landscaping in the new year, but there won't be much requirement for TM with those works. There are some further BT works that will again be carried out in the new year, and we're just awaiting a programme from them as to what that looks like and when they'll be delivering that. And then obviously once we're complete, the new junction will be providing that increased capacity on the road network, and our stakeholders and residents and businesses can start seeing some of that benefit from the works. Moving on to Key Street. As you'll probably already know, and we've reported to Swale JTB before, we're delivering the scheme in small discrete phases so that we're able to reduce the TM as much as practicable. The works are progressing well and to programme. The next lot of traffic management for that scheme will be the closure of the southbound entry slip to the A249. This will be closed on the 27th of October. And this will enable us to construct the new southbound entry slip, which is going to be relocated and will be coming off the new Chestnut Street roundabout that was delivered even at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. The new southbound entry slip will reopen on the 5th of December. So then traffic will be able to access the A249 coming off the Key Street roundabout. The diversion route for this closure will be via the Bobbin Junction. There will be a series of out-of-hours closures for surfacing works later in the scheme. Again, the detail of these closures will be shared, making sure that we're providing people with adequate notice. Completion for the Key Street scheme is February next year, 2026. And then just to let people know, lots of our councillors and lots of the district councillors are already on the mailing list, but our contractor does provide regular traffic management updates and newsletters around scheme progress on both of our schemes. So if you did want to be added, if you're not on those mailing lists, please let us know and we can get you added to those so that you're receiving up-to-date information about how the schemes are progressing and the traffic management phases that are out there. Thank you.
No, thank you. Just a quick point from me. Probably other members in the room have picked up on it, and I'm not sure whether it's been reported back to yourselves, but there is a problem with a lamp post in Grovehurst Road that has been placed right in the middle of the pavement rather than to either edge of the pavement. I'm uncertain of the exact position of it, but you're not going to be able to miss it. So could you look into that, please?
Yes, so we are looking at that. It's not been connected yet, So it's not got the power supply, but we are aware of concerns that have been raised about the placement of its location, and we are actively looking for alternative location. It's not ideal. It is in line with national standards, but yeah, we accept it's not an ideal position. The site, and particularly that footpath, is very constrained. So we, got some drainage and some utility services. So the location was chosen to ensure that the roundabout is safely lit. But yeah, as I said, with those utilities and drainage, we were a little bit restricted. But we are actively looking for alternative locations because, yeah, we accept that it's not ideal.
Thank you very much, Sophie. I've got Councillor Worcester online first and then Councillor Whiting.
Thank you, Chair. Just to be really quick on it, I know that this opinion might not particularly matter. However, the signage on Grovehurst Roundabout is awful. It's very difficult as a visitor to the area to even work out which slip roads are heading where. The sight lines when you're leaving the slip road, the way that the cones are worked out, you almost have to turn your head almost 180 degrees to safely get off the slip road onto Grovehurst Roundabout if you're coming from Sheppey. And communications with the company that is doing the works is appalling. Luckily, I get the updates, but this ridiculous point that KCC say, oh, just contact the company, they'll speak to you, they will not. They do not get back to you. They have not responded to official communications from myself, from town council, whatever else have you. And that roundabout is dangerous. There is no proper signage really to let you know where you're going to, how you're getting off, and the road layout there is now absolutely different from potential. If you've stayed away from the Grovehurst area to leave the driving until the roadworks are finished, if you went on that now, I think you'd find it very, very difficult to navigate your way, especially if you're elderly, especially if, for instance, if you're a new driver. So I think there's a lot of work to be done there, and maybe not patting ourselves on the back would be the first start because, like I say, signage is terrible. There's also a ridiculous, as you're going off into Grovehurst, almost a ramp that is going to pop somebody's tyre where you're going into the new work site for the houses on the left hand side. It isn't particularly well done. It isn't well thought through. And to be honest with you, these updates are lovely, but they are the very least that should be happening there. But that is just from, an island perspective. It isn't my area, but it does affect an awful lot of people trying to get to school, trying to get to work, and oddly enough, me trying to get to meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Worcester. I do have to agree with the signage there. It's bad enough during the day, but if you're using that junction at night, and especially if it's a very, very dark night or it's raining, very poor visibility, it's actually virtually impossible to see that there's an exit comes off that roundabout to go down through Grovehurst Road. Let alone anywhere else. And I've seen a lot of people, and a lot of people have told me they've gone round it sort of 2 or 3 times, and they then ended up going down the Swale Way down to the roundabout, coming all the way back up, and then looking for the signs for the Grovehurst Road junction. So we either need some more lighting put up there as a matter of urgency or some clearer signage, please. Yeah, I've got the officer wants to come in briefly, so yeah. Barry?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just pick up those points. They're all valid points. We'll speak with the contractor and review the signing to see what we can improve. Obviously, the nights are drawing in now, so it's even more critical to make sure the signing is safe and appropriate. So we'll speak to them. In terms of the general team around the junction, it is very busy. There's lots of activity going on, lots of areas. But hopefully, as we start completing sections, some of that TM will get removed, and hopefully, you'll see a reduction over the coming weeks, leading up to the end of the project. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got Councillor Whiting, Councillor MacDonald, and then Councillor Worcester again. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Just thanks, Barry, for taking that on board, and I think the points have been well made about the directions and signage on the roundabout itself. One plea I might make is to get rid of the cones on the A249. Perhaps have a word with your colleagues up at National Highways, through you, Chair, to get rid of the cones on the A249 as soon as. It seems to me now that the slip roads are effectively finished, that they're redundant, it seems to me. I know they've gone northbound, they've already been taken away, but I think if we can get rid of them southbound, that would be good. I do hope the Key Street works, Chair. Don't delay like the Grovehurst one's done, and I'll take Sophia on her word that they're going to work to get these things done by the dates that she has mentioned. But particularly the knock-on effects at Bobbing roundabout will, I think, be quite severe. If everybody wanting to come off the A2, either from the Medway Towns end or from the Sittingbourne end, or those that are coming down for whatever reason down Sheppey Way, to want to get onto the A249 at that roundabout are going to have to use the Bobbing roundabout. We know how snarled up and congested that gets every time the Grovehurst roundabout people do anything that takes a lane out. So I hope that all that will get coordinated, or any time that there's any other roadworks in the roads coming out of Sittingbourne onto the A249. The Bobbing roundabout seems to cop it, and if we're going to put all that traffic round it for the next couple of months, then I really hope that we're going to be restricting the roadworks elsewhere on the network. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Whiting. Yeah, I absolutely have to agree with you about the both the Key Street roundabout and the Bobbing roundabout. For those unfamiliar who might be coming, just moved to the area or coming into the area and need to get back onto the A249, if they've got to use the old Sheppey Way up through Bobbing, it can be very difficult at times when you're coming round there to actually see where the exit off the roundabout is to go up the old A249 up through Bobbing. So perhaps there could be some better signage put there, or at least the cones widened out, because it is quite a narrow exit off of that roundabout. Briefly, Councillor Watson.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and not just another diversion sign, please, because anywhere in that part of the town on the network, all you see are diversion signs, and you quickly lose track about which ones you're following to get from whichever A to B that you're using. Can I just I meant to make one other point, just very quickly, and it was about the multi-agency task force that was kind of a bit of a political thing set up for whatever reasons, and I'm really quite pleased that it's officially been defunct. It's never met. It never had the results behind it. All the things that everybody who opposed it at the time said have all come to pass and come true. It just became a waste of time and a distraction. And I think this committee can do the job equally well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Whiting. Councillor MacDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I totally agree with you with the signage. This is Grovehurst Road. But coming the other way I came along Swale Way, and again, as you rightly say, when it's dark and it's raining, you try and find the right turn for Sheerness. I went round that massive great roundabout, only went round it twice, but you couldn't see where the turn was for Sheerness, and you actually have to turn towards Iwade, and I hadn't realised that. So it does need some sorting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor MacDonald. Councillor Worcester.
Just really quickly, Chair, apologies. I should have actually mentioned workforce in the road as well when I spoke previously. I've got a large concern for the workers on this Grovehurst element, because obviously if you've got drivers that move too slowly are often as dangerous as drivers that move too quickly. And my concern is that by the nature of that work, you're going to have workmen in the road all the time, actually. And it concerns me a lot that if drivers can't see a clear route to follow, that though we are actually not doing the best for our workforce in that area. So it was just a small point that I wanted to add, and I didn't want you to think that actually my concern was people in the cars rather than employees who are really doing a really good job, actually. So thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Worcester. Any other members? No. Sophie or Barry, do you wish to come back on any of the comments that have been made?
Just to reiterate what Barry said, we'll take the comments back to Jackson's. We'll review the traffic management and the sign-in, and yeah, we'll look to speak to them about their communications as well to ensure that they're responding efficiently and quickly and effectively to residents and stakeholders.
Lovely, thank you. And something that's just a little aside from the report on these two. We get quite a few notifications come through of emergency works in various wards across the borough. I had a couple come through for the first time on the 3rd of this month, stating that we're going to be road closures in my ward starting on the 2nd for 24 hours. So if someone could actually look at those, whoever sends those notifications out, if they could actually make sure they go out before the roadworks start, if that's possible. I mean, I know in emergency cases they might just have to be done, but if there are any possibility of getting members informed of these emergency closures so that we can let our residents know. Thank you. Mr. Palmer.
I was going to say, just to answer that, it happens quite frequently, but unfortunately, I don't think KCC knows when it's an emergency. They may turn up, they do it, they then put the permit in afterwards to KCC, who then issues it out. I don't see how KCC can let you know beforehand, because quite often they don't know. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, but where they do know, maybe a day in advance or whatever, if that can be quickly emailed out, that would be appreciated. Thank you. Councillor MacDonald.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment about roadworks, if you don't mind. I did work on roads 100 years ago when it was horse and cart, but no, I think one or two utilities and others take an unacceptable delays, quite frankly. We used to have to work 24/7. The only time we weren't allowed to do noisy work was between 10 in the evening and 6 in the morning. And you see now a small job and it's taking a week. Not acceptable, quite frankly. Costs an awful lot of money to the ratepayers and to the road users, and very little to the contractor, quite frankly. And I think they should be working 24/7. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Councillor MacDonald. I'm sure that's noted by the officers from KCC online. So all that remains for me to do is to thank the officers for their updates and reports on the two sets of roadworks and the Highways Works programme. We note your comments. And finally, it just falls to me to inform you of the date of the next meeting, which is the 8th of December 2025, 5:30 in the chamber, I believe, Kelly. Thank you. So I bring the meeting to a close at 18:27. Thank you for your attendance, members.